So, as expected, Iowa takes down Nebraska, but Gary, I don't think either of us thought it was going to be that bad of a beatdown. 40-16. TJ Lateef only throws for 69 yards. Nice. But really, that was the only nice thing about the game at all for the Huskers. If there was one thing I wish I could get back, it would be that terrible call where they even reviewed it and decided that it wasn't a clear crown of the helmet into the face mask of Barney that caused that fumble. But either way, I don't think Nebraska was winning that game with or without that call. Just would love it back. Gary, there's one thought that comes to mind after a loss like this to a hated rival such as Iowa. I mean, imagine we had gotten blown out 40-16 last time we played Dion and Colorado. But I brought it up to you during the stream, and I'll ask you again, explain yourself. Does the level of heat under Matt Rule's seat not have to go up some from wherever it is? If it's a 1 out of 10, if it's a 0 out of 10, does it not slide up the scale of heat? I mean, can you really lose to your hated rival like this and not feel like people are going to be looking over your shoulder wanting your job?
I think there's a clear answer on both sides of that. It's one with the fan base. We saw it, in the chat and the discussions that's going to go up pretty much every week that we lose. And when you lose back-to-back weeks this bad, and then like you said, to the rival at the end of the season, yes, fans are going to be more antsy and less patient as these types of games play out, and they should be. Going to the person that matters, which is Dannon, and the people that matter, which are the donors, he made it very clear after Matt Rule's press conference when he got extended, why they extended him and what they're looking at. And that's big picture, long term, looking at where they were as a program when he got there to the progression each year since he's been here. Now, this season really couldn't have ended any worse, these last two games, but you're still one game better than you were last year. You have an off season where you now apparently have so much more money. I think next year is going to be more pivotal for Matt Rule as far as that goes, because if you take Dannon's words of the long term, the big picture that they're playing, the long game, and the progression being there, if you have 3 or 4 blowout losses next year, and it's very likely with the schedule difference next year, I think things could change mid to late season next year as far as where they stand with things if they don't see improvement or continued improvement. To me, these last two games especially puts the coordinators more on a hot seat than Rule, because I think they're giving Rule enough time and enough leash to do what he wants with it. And you saw him do it with Satterfield. You saw him take Ed Foley, who's been with him literally everywhere, from Temple to Baylor to the NFL to Nebraska, and replace him with how bad the special teams was last year, be it demoting guys to a different position, to letting them walk, Tony White to go take another job. I think you're going to see him bringing in guys that are either going to be co-coordinators, or I think Raul is gone. So I think you bring in an offensive lineman. I could see him bringing in guys at positions that are kind of how Butler was brought in to coach the secondary. And it was all but said by him. Like we knew, we talked about it. We covered it right away that he was the obvious heir apparent to take over for Tony White when he left. I wouldn't be surprised if Butler and or Holgerson are let go, decide to go somewhere else on their own, or at least have somebody ready to take their position added to the staff this offseason, to where if there's not significant improvement early on, by mid-season next year, you see replacements take place. Like, I think when we talk about how he's not the clipboard guy, he's not the X's and O guy, he's the culture guy, he's the program rebuilder, he's essentially like the GM that puts everybody in place between players and coaches and everything else. This is on him to get this fixed, whether it's the soft fronts against teams can run on you, and your run defense is atrocious all season long and doesn't get addressed, whether you have a mobile quarterback that you're refusing to either allow or ask to be mobile, your offensive line can't protect, yet you want quarterbacks to stand in the pocket for 5-6 seconds, and you're running routes that take 3 or 4 seconds to develop. Whatever these coordinators are refusing or feel like they're unable to fix or address, It's up to him, and I have faith that he will, just based off what he's done with some of those other examples I gave, put somebody else in there at some point, whether or not they give them an opportunity to fix it or just say, I'm making a change now.
Underdog just dropped prediction markets, spreads, totals, and team outcomes. And the best part, you can combine them with player picks for bigger multipliers. Sign up today with code BIGRED and make a $5 fantasy entry to get $100 in fantasy bonus entries. Prediction markets are now live in 25 states, including Texas, California, and Florida. And Underdog is available in over 40 states with player picks and draft games. Prediction markets, player picks, all on Underdog.
I don't feel like Holgerson's running his offense. I feel like the whole thing where he was trying to basically run Satterfield's offense so it wasn't too tough for guys to learn. I think there might need to be a discussion. This isn't the offense we saw you run at West Virginia or Oklahoma State or Houston or anywhere else. And that's not why I brought you in. I didn't bring you in to run Satterfield's offense. I replaced you because Satterfield's offense wasn't, I replaced Satterfield with you because his offense wasn't getting it done. If there's that type of a discussion, or we see that progressing over the offseason to start out next year, something has to change on those two fronts, and it starts and ends with the trenches, with the offensive line, defensive line. I know Braden's new. Raul has been here the longest. That's why I think it's a done deal that he's going to have to be gone. And then whatever you have to do, whether it's bringing in guys with fake titles that are just developing guys, or whether you're hiring guys in these positions that are known as great developers, you need to see progression at a lot of these positions. Like Emmett Johnson had one of the greatest progressions from one year to the next in one offseason that I think I've probably ever seen. There's a very likely chance he's gone next year, and he made up for a lot of deficiencies in your offense, and he's going to be gone. You don't have a guy like that, an Ndamukong Suh type, that is going to make up for deficiencies on the defensive side of the ball. So he needs to make sure he's getting position coaches and coordinators in play that are setting these guys up, putting them in the best possible situation to succeed, but more importantly, developing these guys so that you don't end up with seniors, especially 6 and 7 year seniors like we saw from the Frost era, that are as good or maybe even regressed from their freshman year. So there's going to be talk from the fans that he's not the guy, he needs to go. Whether anybody likes that, agrees with that, disagrees with that, whatever, it doesn't matter, because it's going to come down to Dannon and the donors. And I think they've made it very clear that this is a marathon or a chess game, not a checkers or sprint situation. But that being said, these last 2 games of this season can't be how next season starts off, or now you're holding them accountable to what they're saying, like, okay, as long as things are progressing, we're going to keep him on. Well, you get to a point where not only are they not progressing, but they're regressing. So not trying to straddle the fence, I think it's kind of a tricky question to answer. Yes, fans are going to say he's on the hot seat. A lot of fans already made up their mind he needs to go. I don't think the program's going to do that yet. And I think it's on him. It is on him, and he has ample opportunity now. This isn't week 3 of the season, and he's got to try and patch it together with, minimal time, and you're stuck with the roster you have. Signing day's coming up this week. You've got the portal. They've talked about how they've got the money. I think you're going to see a different look on the sidelines as far as coaches in some key spots. And I think you're going to have guys, if the coordinators stay the same, I think you'll have guys ready to replace them if you don't see significant improvement as the season starts and progresses next year.